Welcome back. This is Anthony, and today we are going to learn how to learn HTML, okay? So, key here. Learn how to learn. Episode 1, we talked a little bit about life lessons, and there's lots of things in life that you can learn, but the challenge that we always seem to run into is figuring out how to turn that short-term knowledge into long-term knowledge and just in learning how to use our resources that are available to us, all right? So this episode is going to show us tags and structure of HTML at a fundamental level. So if you've never done any web design, web programming, this is a video for you. I'm going to go into the coding side of it, but not just how to code the structure and some of the tags. I'm also going to show you some resources that you can use to get this information, and then how you can eventually branch off and start learning these things with the open source information that's already out on the internet. All right. This is a perfect example of open source. This is free for you to watch. But there's also lots of other places that you can go where you can literally just copy, paste, and then reverse engineer what's there, and then modify the code to do what you would like it to do. All right, so let's go get right to it. All right, there's not a whole lot of slides, just one, but w3schools.com. This site is amazing. There's no other way to describe it unless there's a better word than amazing. If you go to this site, you could literally do anything you want, learn anything you want when it comes to the fundamentals of web design. All right, so what are you going to do? You're going to go to w3schools.com. Since we're reverse engineering existing code, we're going to copy all of this here. So look, on the home page, you've already got some code. Well, what can you do with this? If you've never designed anything or programmed, you may not know what to do with this. So let's break it down. Copy this, all right? Right click into a folder somewhere or create a new notepad file somewhere. We're going to do text document, and we're going to call this, let's see, TUT, we'll say 2 for tutorial 2. And then now the extension's what's important. So .txt is how your computer knows to open it in Notepad. If I change this to .html or some other extension that is recognized by your computer as something that should open in a web browser, then that is how we execute this code. So we're going to change it now, and it's saying, are you sure you want to change it? It might become unusable. Well, it's not, because we know what HTML is. We're going to say yes, and look, now it changed the icon to, it looks like Internet Explorer is what it's going to open in, or maybe that's Edge, not really sure. But it's going to open it in the web browser, right? So in order for me to open this file in Notepad again, I either have to change the extension or I have to right click it and then do open with something. So in this case, I'll open with Notepad. So we have a blank file. Let's go ahead and paste that code. And all I have to do after I save this is double click it in the folder, and it will open in the browser as a web page. Now, how cool is that? It's that easy. Now, listen, the goal will eventually be, in the next episode, we're going to learn how to communicate with the server, but in this one, it's literally just on the client. If I double click it, the computer says, hey browser, open up and execute this code, display what needs to be displayed, and that is it. But in the next show, we're going to go ahead and stand up a server locally on our computer so that when you double click this, it will not only open it locally, it'll actually reach out to a local server that we stand up, and then you can do whatever you want on that server. The benefit of that is that it simulates the real internet a lot better than what we're doing here. But since we're just doing an introduction to the tags, we don't really need to do the server side yet. All right, so that's saved now, and I'm going to close this. And now let me just double click, and boom. This is a heading, this is a paragraph. I already have my first website. That easy. Now, of course, the next question is, great, you did this, but what does it actually mean? What is actually happening? What is the code telling me, and how do I do this again? Well, to do it again, quite literally and frankly, you just copy some code, you paste it in, and then you start changing the easy stuff. So if I know that I have a website that has a heading and I want to change something about that heading, I'm going to go into that file and I'm going to find where this is being created. So here we've got, this is a heading. Look, this is a heading. And notice it's inside these tags here. This is where the homework starts to come in. What do these tags do? Why is it bigger than the one below it? Well, this is different. This is a P tag. So if you just look at it, you can see, since we're learning how to learn, let's go to Google and say HTML H1 tag. And sure enough, it's showing you at, look at the top choice, W3 schools. So it's taking us right back to the website that we started at. And it's saying this is the 6 different HTML headings. So we've got a heading, which means it's a larger font, 1 through 6. We're going to click try it yourself. And look, we've got a whole new website that shows the different sizes of each. Now, how cool is that? In just a couple of minutes, I was able to create this web page and then go through and figure out where this is being displayed from, and then learn what the H1 tag is. It's as simple as that. I could do the same thing with the P tag. I could do the same thing with the body tag. I can do the same thing with the HTML tag. Google it, it'll tell you. You'll probably end up back at this W3 Schools site, and it will tell you exactly what it is. So, doc type HTML. This is something that's at the front of a web page that's just going to show basically the language that it's in, the processing, the version. Older browsers had these long strings that showed the version, but nowadays that's pretty much all you need, and it's going to be at the top of all of these examples as well in the try it editors. It's going to have this. So this is something that you really don't need to over understand. Just know that you put it at the front of your website, and then that's it. Second thing is HTML. That is the opening tag to your HTML document. You want to start all of your web pages with HTML. Down at the bottom, you're going to see this slash HTML with my greater than less thans there. So we've got open, we've got close, everything in the middle is my web page. Now you're going to have to learn, since we're talking structure as well, you're going to have to learn tabbing is important, and it's not mandatory, but it's something that you're going to want to do to make your life easier when it comes to structuring your program so it's easier to read. So I'm tabbing these over so that you can see where everything is organized. And the reason why I did it this way is because if you look, you can see an opening and a closing HTML. You've got a title and an end title here. You've got an opening and an end body. You've got an opening and a closing. You've got an opening and a closing. So notice that if I go from here and go straight down, the very next line I will encounter is the closing. That way I know everything in the middle is going to be the body. You only need one body per web page, and that's it. Now, something else you can put in here would be, say, head. Let's go ahead and Google HTML head. And sure enough, W3 Schools has HTML head element. It is a container for metadata, which is data about data. How confusing is that, right? So let me give you an example. If I want to put in the head a link to a script or a CSS file or something that is going to pull information from somewhere else, I can do that in the head. So in this case, I'm going to say head, and then I'm going to close the head here, and I'm going to put my title in the head as well, because that is something else that can go up top. I'm going to tab this over, and then I can do any sort of metadata that I want. Now, if we look in here, you can see there are some examples. Oh, look, this example actually has the title there, and then there's the content of the document. So this body is going to be what you're going to see for the most part here, and then the head is going to be basically your preparatory scripts and information and stuff like that. So CSS is something we'll get into a little bit more later, but this is a perfect example of something that would go into the head. It is pre-processing, letting your page know how to interpret the different tags. So you can have a body tag, which is referencing a body tag, and then it's telling that body and everything inside of it to have a background color of powder blue, right? So because this isn't a CSS tutorial, I'm not going to break that down too much further yet, but it's pretty self-explanatory that you can put inside of this area, you can do style and then close style, and then everything in the middle here is going to be whatever you want. All right, so let's go ahead and save this file. I'm going to change the title to Learn How to Learn, just so you can see how quickly this will change. And then the body here is, this is a heading. We're going to say learn how to learn, and we'll just say under this P, we'll say an awesome tutorial. So all I've done is I've literally changed the English words into something that I would rather it say. I haven't even messed with any of this stuff other than aligning it and then adding a style which has nothing in it. So this isn't going to do anything yet. It's just letting the browser know that I can put some styles in here and it will execute those styles against whatever tags that I line them up with. So let's stop there, save this file. And if I go back to my page here, HTML tutorial, notice in the top it says HTML tutorial. Let me reload this. Look, now it says learn how to learn. So now you know how, when you go to a website, up here it's going to say the website name. Somewhere in there it's going to say title. If you can find that, then that is how simple it is to dissect this page. This changed and this changed. One final thing I'll show you before we wrap this up is if I right click on this and I go to inspect element, you can do this on any web page. Go to Google, go to YouTube, and right click and do inspect element. All of the code will be there for you. Look, it just showed me, and it's even highlighting where it's at. I mean, how amazing is that? It's highlighting where the code is at, how it is represented in the website, in the structure, and it even tabs it for me. So this tab would still be here even if I didn't tab my Notepad document. This just is our browser saying, okay, open, close, open, close. I'm smart enough to know that everything inside of this needs to be tabbed over for readability. That's literally it. And off to the right here, we've got inline style. That is going back to our CSS. And CSS is what makes our web page pretty. We can do background colors, we can change the fonts, we can do whatever we like, and that's it. So typically what I'll do is if I see a website that has some cool design that I would like to use, is I'll go to some website, and let's just do YouTube. So we'll go to YouTube, we will right click on it, and we will go to inspect element. And look, all sorts of code. I did inspect element because if I do inspect element, it'll find this section of the page, it'll drop me directly to that section, and then it'll show me all, there's my font size of 10, my font family. If I want to copy that, I can change it dynamically. I can change it on the web page on the fly. I can change the font size from 10 to say 100 pixels. Look, I just changed YouTube's webpage just now. Now this is all happening on my client. It's all happening on my computer, so clearly I didn't change anything about the server, the YouTube itself. But look, it's literally just, this is youtube.com. If I reload this page, it's going to go back to normal because it's sending it back to the server. The server's sending back the normal page. But this is how we design websites. We go into our websites. If we have some issues or errors, we start changing what we need to change by just doing inspect element. And then once you do that, you can copy whatever you've manipulated here into your Notepad document or whatever you're using, and know that next time you reload the screen, it's going to automatically look right, because this can be used as a debugger. All right. So let's wrap this video up. And so the next one, we're going to go a little bit more in depth. We're going to start talking CSS some more, but Hopefully you enjoyed this. Please comment, subscribe, and have a great day.